Neil Hornsby. I'm Cole Brown. Today discussing our secret superstars of Week 1 in the NFL, a new weekly series we're going to have here at PFF. To find your own secret superstars, make sure to check out ProFootballFocus.com and check out our new feature, Premium Stats 2.0, which is outstanding. But Neil, how did you find the guys you wanted to put on this list?
Well, two ways really cool. Number one, I watched a lot of football over the weekend. Number two, I went to Premium Stats. That's what you do. That's what I recommend everybody does. But yeah, there were some fantastic performances. And what we want to do on this feature is we want to highlight some of the under-the-radar guys that you're not talking about, but you probably should be.
Well, let's get started. Our first guy, Fred Warner, rookie linebacker from BYU for the San Francisco 49ers. He graded out as an 88.7 in Week 1, which is outstanding.
Yes, and it was a weakness, or a potential weakness for the 49ers coming into this game. Reuben Foster out suspended. And what was going to happen? You had Brock Coyle and Fred Warner at inside linebacker. Well, all of those worries went away after about half a game. He was fantastic. He made 6 tackles in run defense, another 3 in coverage, and he also had a pass defense. There was another play that, if it wasn't a pass defense, he was only a fingertip away from it. All over the field, really, really good in coverage, which is probably going to be his forte going forward. I have some concerns about him with the bigger offensive linemen close to the line of scrimmage, but generally an outstanding performance. What the NFL is these days, as our analytics guys tells us, it's all about coverage, Cole, and that's what he's about. I think he's going to be a fantastic pickup, and pairing him with Reuben Foster is going to turn this area for the 49ers into a major strength, in my opinion.
Talk about a great first game as a rookie. That's going to have the potential to be a great linebacker core for the 49ers. But moving on to our next guy, Charles Leno Jr., our third highest graded tackle in the NFL, the left tackle for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, and there's a number of Chicago Bears fans saying, well, no secret superstar to us, and he's been there for a while and he's done a very, very good job for the Chicago Bears for the last few years. I think the emphasis here is on the word good. What I think we may see this year is Charles Leno going from good to great. That's really what the possibilities are. And if this first game is anything to go by against an extremely tough Green Bay front five, then the signs are really good for Charles Leno. He was extremely good. He gave up 2 pressures the whole game. That's a fantastic performance. And although the Bears fell away towards the end, nothing to do with him.
Moving along to our next guy, a guy who has big shoes to fill, replacing Cam Chancellor, Bradley McDougald, strong safety for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, and he's a slightly different sort of player. People look at him and think, and this is his first time starting role full time. That's not the case. 2016, he started the whole season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and what we saw then is pretty much what we saw in the game against Denver, which is he is extremely, extremely good in coverage. He has some weaknesses in run defense, and we'll come to those in a little while. But let's focus for a second on the really, really good play in coverage, because he had 2 interceptions, but those weren't the typical sort of safety, I'm throwing the ball type interceptions. He had to work for both of them. Both extremely good plays. A little bit of concern in run defense because this has been his MO throughout his career and in Tampa Bay. There was a couple of plays I'll highlight where he was close to the line of scrimmage. He's lined up over a wide receiver, Demaryius Thomas. Now, Demaryius Thomas is a pretty good blocking wide receiver, but he shouldn't be able to move Bradley McDougald the way he did on both occasions. That's my only minor concern. Again, though, we'll come back to the what we're talking about with the analytics guys in our company. PFF, very clear, coverage outranks run defense.
Replacing Cam Chancellor obviously isn't easy to do, but he's certainly off to a great start in Week 1 in the NFL. Moving on to our 4th guy on the list, Austin Eckler, halfback for the Los Angeles Chargers. Only played 22 snaps, but he graded out amazing.
He did, and he fitted a lot into those 22 snaps. He was absolutely outstanding. He broke on 5 rushing attempts, 4 tackles. Now, there were 5 people with more broken tackles in the NFL this week. Of those guys, the minimum number of attempts, 16. So that's just an indication as to just how much Austin Eckler did in those number of snaps. But interestingly, it probably wasn't his rushing that I was most taken with. That was his receiving. Easily beat Anthony Hitchens out of the backfield, taking the touchdown like taking candy from a baby. But perhaps the more impressive play, lined up wide to the left, running a straight go route. He goes straight past cornerback Steven Nelson. And frankly, I think it would have been a touchdown, but for the fact that Phillip Rivers underthrew that ball. Minor concern. You know, I always come in with the minor concerns from time to time. One play in pass protection that we saw, Tedden Smith coming around the outside, unblocked rusher. The way that he threw his shoulder at him was a little bit lackadaisical, caused a pressure on Phillip Rivers. I would say maybe he doesn't like contact, other than the fact on one of those runs, one of those broken tackles, ran over Reggie Ragland, lowered his shoulder on Reggie Ragland, and I'm thinking, whoa, he does like contact. So maybe just some work to do in pass protection.
Do you think Eckler could be a Danny Woodhead type of player for this offense?
Absolutely, I do. Absolutely. I think he's got more long speed as well, just as that play on the left-hand side of the field indicated, really.
Moving along to our final guy on the list, Daniel Ross, defense interior for the Dallas Cowboys, a guy who's actually our highest graded defender in the NFL.
Yeah, and yes, he was our highest graded defender. One significant word of caution, incredibly limited number of snaps, hence why he didn't make Team of the Week. But I think it's worthwhile highlighting him because that play was sensational. There was a few other players as well, but the play that we're talking about was getting into the backfield and forcing a fumble on Christian McCaffrey that really kept the Cowboys in the game a lot longer than they had any right to be. And it wasn't just the fact that he forced the fumble. Yeah. He beat Try Turner very easily and was 3 or 4 yards into the backfield to make that forced fumble on Christian McCaffrey. I think Christian McCaffrey hadn't even really managed to get the ball in his grasp when he was in that quickly. So yeah, a really good performance, but obviously he needs to take it to the next level. And where better place to take it to the next level than in Cowboy Stadium against the Giants on Sunday Night Football.
Well, there you have it. Make sure to like our video as well as subscribe to our channel for more videos. And we'll see you next week for our Week 2 Secret Superstars of the NFL.